welcome to your favorite Monday show, the Essential Monday show, the only Monday show in the world that you can find anywhere on YouTube. It's only this one. It's the Haddonfield High Alumni. I'm Nick from the Lost River Drive-In, joined by
Justin Ryan, 1988.
Justin. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Life's good. Life is good. You know what? I saw your Instagram story about Spirit Halloween, so now I'm psyched. I'm ready for this to happen.
Yeah.
Can we bring on September or August, whenever?
I know, right? So far, 10:31. Hello, Wes. What's up? Antonis,
what's going
how
on?
we doing? FluffX. Antonis, yes, we did watch the Chucky TV series trailer. I enjoyed it.
I did too. I cannot wait for that. At first when they first announced it, I'm like, how are they going to do a Chucky TV show? Like,
yeah, it looked good. I liked the trailer.
I did too, and he looks good. Chucky looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm glad that they're going back and they're embracing the idea of like a non or a pre-stitched Chucky. Like that is great. I love that.
Cat Drums, what's up? Matthew, what's up?
On?
Sarah, hello. Linton,
hello.
Jonathan, how we doing, everybody? How we doing? It's Monday. How's the weather where everyone is? It's about 88 here. It's nice and toasty. How about you, Justin?
It is toasty. I was gonna go for a walk, and I'm like, well, I'll wait till after we do the live show because I'd be a sweaty mess.
Yeah, we were out running errands, and that's where I saw that Spirit, and I was like, oh my Lord. I was actually
so excited.
Yeah. Peace Boy Rambo, how you doing, brother?
What were you gonna say though? I interrupted you. You actually what?
Oh no, nothing. I mean, it was cool because I actually got to walk in because I know the district manager. She was there. They were actually store building, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" She's like, "How you doing? You coming back this year?" I was like, "No, I wish, but no."
So, do you know? I mean, do they have a date when do they normally open? Like, when does Spirit Halloween normally open?
Spirit Halloween, you're looking at the last week of August, assuming everything goes correctly.
It's exciting.
So we're about 4 weeks out.
You know, people look forward to football. I know you're a football fan. You are. Is it basketball or football? Like, I'm just kind of wondering.
Football, brother. It's football.
I'm not a sports guy.
You're good.
My thing is, like, I love football for, two reasons. One of the reasons is, I love food. But I love the fall weather. And, that means we got Spirit Halloween coming up. We got that nice breezy weather. And then we got October around the corner. So,
And then I love Thanksgiving and Christmas. So
there we go.
And I can't wait for the stuff we're going to do on the channel in the fall and around Christmas, you guys. And we'll even do some Thanksgiving horror movies. There aren't a lot, but we're going to do them. So
there's some good ones though. There are definitely some good ones.
Let's see. Sarah says you're wearing the appropriate shirt since they just announced the casting. I'm excited about that, by the way. I'm looking
forward to it. Very interesting. Yes.
John says he's looking forward to the 70's talk. Yes, we are too. Peace Boy says a fave 70's horror film of all time is Halloween. Hey, don't apologize for it, brother, because that might show up on me and Justin's list. I don't know.
It might. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That's right. David Gordon Green confirmed he will remake.
It's a sequel. It's a sequel.
And not only is it a sequel, it's a trilogy, apparently.
Yep.
So
pretty
cool. And Ellen Burstyn's coming back. I'm like, what? So awesome.
Jonathan, do you watch soccer? We call that football. I don't, but it's for no reason in particular. It's just never been a sport that I ever played or really got into. But I know I have multiple friends that really, really love it. Are you a fan of football, soccer?
Me?
No, I'm at Jonathan, but are you as well?
I'm a soccer fan. Like, if you told me, Justin, what goal do you go to? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm good at like running ish and kicking the ball in the goal that I need to. Is it a goal? Is it a goal?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Okay. Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Um, Rudy says, "Oh snap! Had to skip the commercial to get into the video." That's right. Yeah,
You
I
do
got
have
ads
commercials
now.
now.
Yeah, I
I
know.
noticed that.
Oh, dude, you're good, Antonis. Don't even worry about it. You don't need to apologize. It's. I get it. I mean, but God, now her name is slipping me. What's Reagan's mom's name?
Chris, it's
Yeah, Chris McNeil. She's the woman.
Ellen
What's
Burstyn.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
coming back,
she's
and
coming
that's
back.
awesome.
Were you? I was surprised with that. I was like, oh wow, they got Ellen Burstyn to come back. Like
Yeah,
just because I was just like, oh, she's coming back to it. So I
yeah.
think that's awesome.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it was very surprising for me. Very surprising.
Question for you: Do you now? I don't know if Linda would be open to coming back, but do you think since they're bringing Chris, Ellen Burstyn's character back, and she's coming back, do you think Reagan will make an appearance at some point?
I wonder. I
I
I
wonder that too.
I would be okay with seeing it so long as it were Linda. If it's not going to be Linda, then don't do it. That's all I have to say.
True.
If you're not bringing Linda Blair back, then don't even bother. Uh, Peace Boy. Let's see.
Oh, what's
Okay.
going on, Christian? Yes,
Yeah. What's up,
yes.
CHH? T. Parker
Uh,
Evans asked if we heard Rob Zombie's comments on Scream 2. I know what you did last summer in Psycho. Yeah, but he
I didn't hear
clarified.
anything.
He
I
was
didn't hear
talking.
anything.
He said the Psycho remake was trash. It's one of the. He said it was one of his least favorite horror films. He said, "I know what you did last summer" was one of his least favorite, which
I
I
love
don't
that movie.
I don't agree with that at all. And
Yeah.
I think I don't think he meant Scream 2 because his comment actually he said like I don't know if it was the second one or the third one, but it was garbage. So I want to say he was talking about Scream 3 because I've never heard anybody say Scream 2 is bad.
No, Scream 2 is great. Like that's the way you do a sequel. So
Yeah.
I'm excited
But
to hear Justin's top picks for the 70s.
well,
Yeah.
you guys are in for it,
Oh,
man. Because let me tell you, these first few years of the '70s, there are some pretty deep cut movies, and then as you go on into the '70s, you really start to see some of these classics that you recognize today.
yeah.
But the early portion, Justin and I both, we talked about it before we came on. We both struggled the first
I
few
think
years of the '70s.
yeah, I'm like 1970 and 1971. There's like three each because I was like, I'm so happy by the way that there were movies that I saw in those certain years because I'm like, if there's not a movie I've not seen in the 70 or 1970, I'm in trouble.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
let's get right into it, guys. Let's
All
start
right.
off with the year 1970. And I only wrote down 4 for 1970. And those 4
All right.
films were Dorian Gray, The Body Beneath, Scars of Dracula, and Bigfoot.
Nice.
Now, let me just say, Bigfoot, you go back and watch that today, it's pretty bad. Dorian Gray is an interesting one because they took some liberties from I know it was a novel, and they took some liberties, especially the ending. I don't want to. I mean, it's like a 50-year-old movie, so if you guys have seen it, awesome. If you haven't, well, you probably have no interest. But basically, the ending is made to look like an intentional suicide, whereas in the novel, it wasn't to be that way. The Body Beneath is a fun little old vampire flick. But for me, for 1970, it's Scars of Dracula, and I have seen that film, and that is Christopher Lee. Obviously, he ran the world back in the day as the Count. I mean, everybody remembers him as being the Count, and it's crazy that he turned down the Dr. Loomis role, which he said he still regrets. But yeah, for me, it's Scars of Dracula, and again, a lot of these movies have a very they're not super mainstream. They're not easy to get into. They're for a very specific portion of the horror fan base. But there are some really hidden gems in there, and I do enjoy Scars of Dracula. So I'm going to pick Scars of Dracula for 1970, and I'm going to hand the reins off to you, my friend.
Thank you. And by the way, great pick because I love Scars of Dracula. So I picked 3 out of 1970, and these were the three that I really remember, or there might have been one or two that I probably had seen once, but I can't remember them. So the three that I did pick, I do remember. So the first one is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Dario Argento's film.
Yes.
Love it. Absolutely.
I only didn't write it down because I haven't seen it.
Oh, if Dario Argento, that's one of his best. Scars of Dracula, which, yeah, I absolutely love that. That's one of Christopher Lee's best performances as Dracula. I think there might have been two others where next to Scars where he had the most dialogue, and I think Scars of Dracula, I think, was one of the ones where he had the most dialogue and just one of his best performances. And then Taste the Blood of Dracula, which I remember being really good. They were all so much fun rewatching, or either rewatching or watching for the first time last October. I think I'm going to plan to do it again this October. But as much as I love Scars of Dracula and Taste the Blood of Dracula, I'm going with The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. I don't know if this is Dario Argento's first movie, but it's definitely one of his first. And normally I like more of his supernatural films like Suspiria and Inferno and Phenomena. But I love this kind of slasher, like detective drama thriller story. It's just hands down one of his best. And the first time you see it, there's some great twists in this movie. The acting is overall really good. This is definitely like a top 5 favorite Dario Argento movies for me. So hands down for 1970 was The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Great movie.
I got to check it out.
Highly recommended.
I will tell everybody, our friend Jill will not be attending today. She messaged me and let me know that she has her niece and nephew, I think, with her. So she's not going to be here, but she'll watch it back on the playback. So Jill, hello.
Jill, we love you. So
yes. So 1971. Now, guys, if you're horror fans, which obviously I assume all of you are, then you know that as the 70s go on, you start to recognize more and more. You start to recognize more and more movies. By the way, thank you, Peace Boy. We really appreciate that. That means a lot. And stick around. You know, we'll get to Halloween. I promise.
Oh yeah.
But 1971 was the last year that I kind of struggled with finding a clear-cut favorite. And that was because I hadn't seen a ton of them. Now, for 71, I put down See No Evil. I want to say that's Mia Farrow?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Zodiac Killer. The House That Dripped Blood. Crucible of Terror. Crucible of Horror. And Let's Scare Jessica to Death. For me, The Zodiac Killer is fun, but the 2006 film by David Fincher is far and away the best adaptation for the Zodiac ever. The House That Dripped Blood is interesting. I haven't seen Crucible of Horror, but I've seen Crucible of Terror, and I did like that. But for me, my pick for 71 is See No Evil.
Oh, nice.
And the reason that I picked See No Evil is because I hadn't seen it until the remake came out in the early 2000s. And I went and revisited it after the remake came out. And I was like, oh, wow, that's like way better. And I know there are fans of the remake of See No Evil. You know, it's fun, whatever, this and that. But I think that the acting, the storytelling, it's just far superior to me in the original. It's not a movie I've watched many times, but I probably only watched it 3 or 4 times. But the most recent time going back and revisiting it after having seen the remake, I grew a fondness for it that I hadn't had before. So I'm going to go with See No Evil for 1971.
So See No Evil? That's a remake to the one that came out in 2006? Because I've never seen the original.
Yeah, the original is a 71 film, See No Evil. Yep.
See, I've never seen it, so I'm
Now
gonna have to check that one out.
the remake takes a lot of liberties, and
Oh,
does its
okay.
own thing. But yes,
Okay.
it's based off of that idea.
Okay. I've never seen the original, so I'm gonna put that on my list to see. Um, so 1971 for me, I only picked three. Um, the first one was The House That Dripped Blood. That is a great and fun anthology film. If I remember, well, he's on the cover. Christopher Lee.
Hmm.
I think Peter Cushing's in it. I could be wrong, but I think he's in it. And then second one was Let's Scare Jessica to Death. I think that was 71. I remember liking that one. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember it having like a really good atmosphere. And then Bay of Blood. So that one I've only seen once, but it was in probably the last 3 years. And I think that is the one where Friday the 13th Part 2 got inspired by the shish kebab death. Now, if I'm wrong, please comment down below. Let me know. But I think that's the movie. I think it's called Twitch of the Death Nerve, also, like AKA Twitch of the Death Nerve. But I remember liking that one. Again, that was like one of the first slasher films that we had, so it was a pretty good movie. The one I went with, though, was The House of Drip Blood.
Okay.
Super fun. Again, anthology film, great cast. It has that good like Hammer feel to it, Hammer horror feel to it. I remember there was a lot of fun stories in this. I think there is one with vampires, which is pretty cool. This is like one of those perfect movies that you can watch during the Halloween October season, either before October or like maybe like a pre-October viewing, and have a good time with it. So very fun film, great anthology movie. And if you've never seen it, anybody who's never seen it, definitely check that out.
Heck yeah. Sarah, yes, that remake is the remake with Kane. And then she says, "Oh crap, I realized I own and seen The House of Drip Blood." Yeah.
Cool.
Yes, Antonis, the shish kebab death. They call it the shish kebab death because it's multiple people, but it's in Friday Part 2. Through the bed.
I've always called it that. A
lot of people do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 1972 has a very clear-cut winner for me. But I wrote down the films that I had seen from that year, and we've got The Last House on the left, Blackula, Frankenstein 80, Tower of Evil, Silent Night, Bloody Night, not to be confused with Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Gargoyles. Gargoyles, when I was a kid, I remember that scared the crap out of me. And I don't know what it was. The things were just so freaky looking. And like still to this day, I don't like gargoyle statues. I've never liked them. Blackula is pretty dumb, but it's fun cheese. Frankenstein 80, it's good. I mean, a lot of those Frankenstein films are, they're for their time, they're very good. But for me, there is a clear-cut winner, and that clear-cut winner is drumroll.
Bam.
The Last House on the Left. And it's funny that I mentioned that too, because I find the remake better than the original. And that might get me strung up, and tortured. But whatever. I think that the remake is better. But having said that, it's another classic Craven film. And you can't really go wrong with that. But so yeah, I'm gonna go with The Last House on the Left. Justin, fire away.
Well, so my first one from 1972 was The Last House on the Left, and I'm gonna agree with you. Like, I go back and forth, but I'm gonna agree with you right now. I think the remake's better. The original is a classic. It's, you know, how we got started with Wes Craven and Sean S. Cunningham. Um, Great movie. Hard to watch, but it is a great movie. Um, Dracula AD 1972. The second to last Dracula film with Christopher Lee. Frogs, which if you've never seen Frogs, that is just super super campy. Do not expect anything Oscar winning or it to be one of your favorite horror movies, but if it is, no problem. That's awesome. Silent Night, Bloody Night. I'm glad you picked that one, or I'm glad that was on your list, because that is also a film I've seen. And like you said, you know, don't mistake it for Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's a different story, different movie, but it was one of the first Christmas horror movies out there. Really enjoy that movie. Has great atmosphere to it, very eerie at times. So yeah, really enjoy that. And then the original Tales from the Crypt, which again was one of those kind of, you know, had a Hammer horror feel to it, and it was a great anthology. And what's her? Joan Collins, I believe. She is in the Christmas segment with the Killer Santa Claus. So pretty neat there. But, you know, I'm going to shock people. I might shock people. I don't know. I might shock people. And I love Wes Craven's Last House on the Left, but I did not pick that one. I went with Dracula AD 1972 for my pick. This is, in my opinion, my favorite Christopher Lee Dracula movie. We were getting out of that, you know, those traditional Dracula Christopher Lee movies before this, and this jumps to early 1970s London. I like that they, you know, made that change. I think it's great. You just overall have a great story here. It's one of the, in my opinion, the darkest of the Christopher Lee Dracula movies. And yeah, I just have a great time with this movie. So yeah, I almost went with Last House on the Left, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to change it up a little bit. And I picked Dracula AD 1972. It is again, one of Christopher Lee's best movies. So if you've never seen it, definitely check this one out. I think Sarah picked this one for 1972 as well.
She did. She's very happy in the chat that you picked it as well. I actually have not seen that.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
So I need to get around to that. Like I said, I do really enjoy Christopher Lee as Dracula. So I should give that movie a chance. I don't know why I haven't seen it, but I haven't.
You know, the crazy thing about it is when I went back and I wanted to watch them all last year, I didn't realize how many he had, and I didn't realize how they went in order. So it's so much fun to watch him from his first time as Dracula up until the very last. And some are definitely better than others, but it's a fun marathon. Definitely a fun marathon.
Well, that's our picks for 72, and now we jump headfirst into 1973. 1973 brought us a couple of really good movies, a few of which are, you know, considered classics nowadays. And we've got The Exorcist, we've got The Wicker Man, we've got Satanic Rites of Dracula, we've got the original The Crazies, and we've got Terror in the Wax Museum. I really enjoy The Wicker Man. I really enjoy The Crazies, though, again, that's another remake that I think is better, in my opinion. But I feel like for me, based off of the ones that I have seen, there's only... Hello, Jamie. How you doing?
Hey, Jamie.
There's an obvious winner, I think, for this year, and I would be remiss if I gave it to anybody else. So we're going with... The Exorcist. Justin's got the t-shirt. Let me hold up. Okay. It was the first horror movie I ever saw, so it's always going to have a special place in my heart. It scared the crap out of me I mean, it genuinely terrified me as a child. It's not a movie a small child should watch, but I did. And honestly, I wonder if I love Halloween. Okay, Justin,
Hmm.
you
Oh
know,
yeah.
but I think Tubular Bells it may be the best. Like, it's
Score.
so creepy. I mean,
Hmm.
Tubular Bells is just I mean, I love that thing creeps me out. I
Oh,
love that. I love it. I love it. So for me, it's nostalgia, and it's just what it did to me as a child, and the score and and the acting, but I'm going The Exorcist for 1973.
can I ask you a question? Because I agree. I mean, I love the classic Carpenter Halloween score, but I'm going. The Exorcist is just creepy. That score. Does it ever give you goosebumps sometimes when you listen to it? Because I get goosebumps, or like I get like
I
my hairs stand up.
Yeah, when I worked at Spirit Halloween, it would play every day.
Oh
And
gosh.
when let me paint a picture for you guys. When the sun has gone down and it's dark outside and you're in the store and it's still early in the Halloween season and there's no customers in there and you're getting ready to close down and it's just you and like one other employee, and throughout the speakers you're just hearing it's just, I can't put into words that feeling. I mean, and then you walk outside, you gotta, there's a chill in the
No.
air and there's leaves on the ground and you're just, I mean, yes, it still creeps me out to this day. I just think it's one of the most effective pieces of cinema score I've ever heard. So, yeah.
Wow. I always thought like when I worked at Family Video, the scariest thing for me was when I'd be in the store one day and I'm like closing up and literally no one's in the store with me and like a movie would fall off the shelf. Like, and it happened like twice and I was like, okay, this place is haunted. But I think your story like takes mine. That's creepy. I
It's
could
just,
not do.
I just love it. I just love it so much. And, I don't know. I just have very fond memories of it. By the way, what's up, Kevin? Thanks for popping in.
Hey,
Everybody in
Kevin,
here, throw a like our way.
please
But
do.
yeah, I love that score. I love it. But I digress. Justin, hit me with your best shot for 1973.
1973. Okay. So obviously the first one, The Exorcist. You cannot go wrong with that movie. I was not one until I didn't see that movie until I was like 20 though, because my mom told me stories that when she saw it in theaters, she literally or she saw the movie. I don't know if she saw it in theaters, but she saw the film. And the first time she saw it, she had to go to the hospital. Like it freaked her out that much. Um, my sister saw it before I did, and I heard just terrifying things about it. I, again, did not see it until I was 20, and it is a scary film. It's an eerie movie. And while I do think that Exorcist 3 is a little bit more eerier and scarier, The Exorcist is still a scary film. And at the time, um, that was a different type of horror film that people were seeing. Before that, we had Hammer horror movies, we had anthology films, we had, Christopher Lee's Dracula
Yeah,
or
Universal Monsters and stuff.
Universal Monsters, Night of the Living Dead. But
Mm-hmm.
The Exorcist was something different. And yeah, there's a lot of talk with it, and people are still talking about it. And, it deserves the positive talk because it's a great movie, classic film, awesome movie. So that was my first one. The Crazies, George A. Romero's The Crazies.
Antonis, thank you for the super chat, my friend. That feature is now unlocked on my channel.
Awesome.
Have you guys
So
seen the
cool.
Wicker Man remake? It's so bad, but it's hilarious.
Very entertaining.
Yes.
I'll say that.
By the way, again, thank you so much, Antonis. I really, really
That's
appreciate
awesome.
that. I have seen it. It is very bad, but it's like it is so bad that you almost enjoy. Yeah, you enjoy it, but I mean, it is pretty bad. Justin, what are your overall thoughts on the Wicker Man remake?
I mean, the first time I saw it, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, I love this movie, and then I rewatched it. I'm like, why did I love this movie? Because it's not a film that you love, but it's definitely a film that's entertaining. It's so bad it's good. I mean, you have Ellen Burstyn in it. Speaking of her, it's great to see her in it. Great to see her in it. Nicolas Cage brings the camp before he really brought the camp. In a lot of movies that we have today, the bees scene, the bees. But it's entertaining. I mean, I could sit down, and be entertained by it. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, yeah. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that, brother. Love to you. And
Okay.
pick it back up. What's up, Art?
Hey, Art. So The Crazies was my next one. George A. Romero, great movie there. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, which not a lot of people talk about that. That is there's a remake that came out in 2011, which I think's great. But this was a TV movie with Kim Darby, who was the mom in Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers.
Yes.
And Michael, terrifying scene. It creeps me out.
What's up, Jeff? What's up, Sam? How you guys doing?
What's going on, guys? How are you all doing? But Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Great TV movie. I almost picked this, but then I was like, I got to pick the other movie. I was like, the best from the 73, but Legend of Hell House.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That is awesome. Like,
yeah.
An underrated movie. Like, for me, I have seen that movie several times and I still get creeped out with it. And for 1973, like, there was some, like, I don't know how they did some of the effects in the movie. A lot of it, of course, was practical, but they did some great stuff in that movie. Mm-hmm. And another great score in a movie. It's not like the Exorcist score, but it's a great score. And then the last one was The Wicker Man, which that is a great film. But like you, I went with The Exorcist. I mean, when you think 1973, this is the one. This is the one. I mean, what, first of all, I love the cast. I think everybody does a fantastic job here. But props to Linda Blair for being a child actor and everything that she went through. And then she got injured on the set and continued to make this movie. I mean, hands down, like, just props to her, I, like we talked about, the score, iconic, it's classic. There's some great moments in this movie, some terrifying moments, but of course you got that, shot where Father Marin's looking up at the window and you got that fog happening. I think that's great. I love this. And, I just got to say it, why you do this to me, Demi? Like, my sister hates when I do that to her because she is terrified of this movie. But yeah, The Exorcist, 1973, you have to pick that one. I think that's a staple for the 70s. And again, it was a film that really kind of broke horror movies at the time. It was something different. So yeah, love it.
Heck yeah. Seeing some love in the chat for the Crazies remake. Yes, Justin and I both love that remake.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Art wants to know if we remember a film called Repossessed.
I do.
I haven't seen it. Is it bad?
It's not bad. It's very entertaining. It's like so bad it's good type of entertaining. Okay. But it was Linda Blair, and they were spoofing The Exorcist. So she's in the film. I think she's playing her character, or a character similar to Reagan, but she's spoofing The Exorcist, and Leslie Nielsen's in it. I mean, it's so entertaining. Like, they talk about pea soup and certain things that happen in it that were in The Exorcist that they poke fun with. So yeah, I thought it's entertaining. Yeah. Entertaining.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to move on to 1974 now. And 1974 has two heavyweights at the top that are battling it out for supremacy. We had, earlier this year, we had Godzilla versus Kong battle it out for supremacy. 18 years ago, we had Freddy versus Jason battle it out for supremacy. Well, here In 74, we have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Black Christmas
Oof,
duking it out
great
for
ones.
supremacy of 74. I also wrote down From Beyond the Grave, Killer Bees, which is so dumb, but it's
I've never
fun.
seen that.
And Young Frankenstein.
Ooh.
But everybody knows what it's between. It's between Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Black Christmas. And I want to say really quick before I make my pick, I know that I'm going to make people happy with this pick and people mad with this pick because it's one or the other. And, I already see people in the chat. It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 100%. And then, no, it's Black Christmas. Final answer. So it's like, all right. Both are classics. Both.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that I have to pick one. But if I'm picking one, it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I love the movie. I love Black Christmas as well. I really, really do. But this was also one of those early childhood horror films that I remember seeing when I was way too young to see it, that freaked me out. Now I've really, really, really not come around because I've always been a fan of the remake, but I've really struggled lately because I've been like, is the remake better? I don't know. And God, don't stone me, guys. Okay. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying there's sometimes I watch the remake and I'm like, dude, that is so good. But I am a sucker for a Christmas horror movie. I mean, I am a sucker for it. But I'm going with my heart, and I'm going with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But I will say, if you pick Black Christmas, you're not wrong. It has to be one of these two. It's unfortunate that they had to duke it out for supremacy, but I'm giving it to Leatherface. So, Justin, take it away.
So I only have 3 for 74, which I was quite surprised. When I looked these up, Young Frankenstein did not pop up. So I was like, how dare them not put that on their list of movies? That is a great film, though. I love that movie. But the 3 I picked, Black Christmas, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, those are just 2 classic films, and I love them both. I mean, they're both in, top 10, top 15 favorite horror movies for me. And then the 3rd one I picked was Madhouse with Vincent Price, which this was more of a slasher film for him. Like he always had like the fun, campy horror movies that were kind of scary. I mean, very eerie films like House on Haunted Hill. But Madhouse was a great Vincent Price film. T. Parker says, I just saw the remake for the first time an hour ago, and it was pretty good. Solid acting, great direction, and atmosphere.
I had to put that up here because, first of all, I'm glad you finally saw it.
Yes.
Second of all, it is a fantastic remake. But that's crazy that you just now saw it. But I'm glad you liked it.
I'm glad you did. And I think the original one is better, but that remake is just so amazing. Like, and I'm like you, and with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's like I always kind of recently I've looked at my top list of Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and the original's there. I go back and forth between the beginning and the remake, though, as my second favorite, because the beginning is amazing, but the remake is just awesome. And that is a film that, watching it over and over these almost 20 years, I love that remake. I didn't love it when I first saw it, but I do love it now. I might get some looks for this. My pick. I might, because my number one, it was almost Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Classic film from 74, guys, but I want to give some love, which this has love, but Black Christmas. I mean, again, like you said, both are classics. They're like the Freddy versus Jason in 1974. It's like, what one do we pick? But yeah, Black Christmas for me. I think this is a film, and the reason why I picked it over Texas Chainsaw Massacre is this one still scares me. Like, if I'm watching this by myself, kind of lights are off, it's at night, there's no sound in the house except for this movie, it creeps me out. You got great overall acting. Olivia Hussey, our lead, character in the movie. That third act with her is so creepy. And there's a scene that always gives me like chills. There's moments throughout it, but the scene that I'm talking about is when, and if you've never seen this, it's a slight spoiler, but when she gets the call from the police station and, he's letting her know, hey, the calls are coming from the house. And her reaction to that is just terrifying. But then she has to make that choice of, do I go and leave the house like he's telling me, or do I go and try to get my friends? And I love how she's calling for Barb and Phil. And you see the staircase and you see, something's up there, it's terrifying. And she's trying to get her friends to come down. She's like, I want them out of this house, but I do not want to go up there. And so when she yells, Phil, Barb, answer me, please answer me, like goosebumps every time I watch it. But yeah, for me, it's Black Christmas. I love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to give a little bit more love for this topic of video to Black Christmas, because this is still a film that gets to me. I mean, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is creepy in its own way, and I love it. But for me, Black Christmas.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Two classics. Jonathan just said it best. It's super tough to pick. Let's see. 1031 says he prefers the My Bloody Valentine remake over the original. And then Cat Drums, Argento and Fulci. I know. I need to watch more of their stuff. Christian and Justin have already gotten on me about it. So, but I know I need to catch more of it. I will. I promise.
Which one is it again? I was reading the comments. What was it? What one do you have to watch?
More Fulci movies.
Oh, Fulci. Okay. Sorry, but I was reading the comments. I'm reading some of these.
You're good.
But yes, more Fulci. You definitely need to watch more.
I know.
Sarah said Jess was a ballsy woman for the time. She was. Yeah. She really was. There's times you love or you not so much love Jess. I mean, you don't hate her in the movie, but there's a couple of times she can get snippy or say things and you're like, oh, Jess. But like Sarah said, she was a ballsy woman for the time. And yep. I love Olivia Hussey. I think she's great. And I remember like the first time hearing about Black Christmas was on Bravo's Top 100 Scariest Movie Moments. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And they mentioned Black Christmas, and I was like, I need to see this movie now. So yeah.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Ryan?
70s horror. So now we, no pun intended, dive right into 1975. And 1975, I only wrote a few down. Jaws, Trilogy of Terror, Last Stop on the Night Train, and this isn't horror, so I don't know why it comes into it, but Rocky Horror Picture Show came up. It's not horror, but I just wanted to mention it because it's 75. Really quick, before I give you guys my pick, Trilogy of Terror was a very happy accident on my part when I was a kid. I went to Walgreens. I was probably 12, and I went to see. It was Halloween time. I was buying some Halloween stuff at this Walgreens. I walked from my neighborhood, and I saw this DVD. It was like Trilogy of Terror, and I was like, "Oh, this looks creepy." And then I get home and I put it in, and I'm like, "What is this? Like, this is not at all what I thought it was." And but I liked it. I don't know what it was. I liked it. And I still like it to this day. I can't really explain it. Like you show it to a casual moviegoer and they're probably like, what? But I just have an affinity for it. Maybe it's because of that happy accident that I made all those years ago. So I wanted to show some love to Trilogy of Terror. But the winner, without a doubt. And I would be disingenuous if I said it wasn't Jaws, guys. I mean, does that mean there aren't great 75 films out there? No, it doesn't mean that. But this is like an all-timer type movie. This is like a Halloween, like a Psycho. The year this movie came out, I don't care what else came out. You can't disrespect this film. This film is the quintessential shark movie. It's going to live on for hundreds of years, maybe thousands, and it deserves to, quite frankly. So for me, 75, we're going with the Jaws, boy.
I was gonna say I'm seeing some love for Trilogy of Terror and Jaws in there. So
yeah, Taylor, yes,
yeah.
I think we both have ordered our Halloween 4Ks.
Yes, and my wallet is burning.
Yes. What's up, Jay? How you doing?
Hey, Jay. How you doing? Yeah. 75.
75.
Great year for movies. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah, it showed up on mine too. And like you said, it's not really a horror movie. But it is a film that when you think of October, you have to put on the Rocky Horror Picture Show. At least I do. I love that movie so much. So that was one I put for 1975. And it's a cult classic movie. You got to mention it. Mm-hmm. Trilogy of Terror. I love that movie. That is such a great anthology movie. Karen Black is amazing in it. You know, I love Karen Black. Rest in peace. Yes. Shivers, David Cronenberg Shivers. That is a crazy movie, but that is a great film there. Love that. The Stepford Wives, the original Stepford Wives. Another film that it might not, have jump scares, or it might not be like the scariest movie, but the idea is quite creepy, and it's a little bit eerie about this, this woman stepping into this kind of suburban life, and things around her are changing. The people that she thought she knew are changing. And if you've seen the film, I'm not going to give it away, but if you've seen the ending of the movie, not the last shot in the film, not the very last scene, but towards the end, when she's confronted by something, it's scary. It's a scary movie. It's a scary idea. And I love the Stepford Wives. But the one I haven't mentioned, Jaws. This is my 1975 pick. I didn't pick Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which, again, Black Christmas and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, those were head to head. I love them both. But if I did not pick Jaws for 1975, I think, people would think I was crazy, and they'd be like, how dare you, Justin? We're coming for you.
We'd cancel you. We'd cancel Justin.
Don't do that. Don't do that. But Jaws is, I agree with everything you said, but it's a classic. I mean, if you've never seen Jaws, you got to watch it in your life. And maybe you won't love it, but you have to watch it once in your life. I love it. And, I love the fact that you don't really see the shark too much. It's more of, what you think, or what you think you're seeing, or the point of view of the shark, which is great. Love the cast, classic John Williams score. I love the score. Next to like The Exorcist, and Carpenter's Halloween, the Jaws score. That's something that when you hear that score, you know exactly where that score came from. Yeah, Jaws, absolutely love it. It's a film that I watch at least once or twice a year. I have to watch it every summer at least.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, Peace Boy Rambo, if you're not able to catch the whole live stream, that's fine, man. Just catch it on the playback. We appreciate you being in here, and thank you for the kind words. And Justin will not be canceled, guys. Don't worry.
Oh, my goodness.
So 1976. Now this year's got three really good ones, and then there's two that I enjoy.
Hmm.
And so 76, I wrote down five. We've got Carrie, The Omen, The Town That Dreaded Sundown,
Ooh.
Jack the Ripper, and The Lost River Drive-In Massacre. It's just Drive-In Massacre, but no more than that.
I love it. I love it.
And okay, so for me, the obvious three at the top are The Town That Dreaded Sundown, The Omen, and Carrie. Let's see. This is hard. This is
Oh my
hard.
goodness.
We'll get there, Art. Don't worry. Just hang tight, buddy. You'll see soon. I love The Omen. I really enjoy The Town That Dreaded Sundown, and I love Carrie. I enjoy the Carrie remake. I dislike the Omen remake. And I just think, you know what? Screw it. I'm not even going to babble anymore. It's Carrie. I mean, and it's not even really hard for me, if I'm being totally honest with you. While the Omen is fantastic, while the Omen is a classic, so is Carrie. And the themes of Carrie and just I will never ever be able to get over the absolute gotcha at the end, basically, where it's like everybody picks on her and everybody makes fun of her and she's a joke and her mom's weird and her life sucks, and Carrie's just like, y'all want to die tonight? Because you're going to. And I just love it because it's always nice. Obviously, you don't condone that kind of behavior, but
No.
she's bullied. She's treated like crap. And it's nice to see her stand up and be like, no, we're not doing this anymore. You guys pushed me to my limit. And it's just it's a lesson in watch who you pick on. Don't be mean. Don't be a bully. And I'm sorry, but I don't feel bad for those people because they really treated her terribly. So, yeah, I'm picking Carrie. Go for it, Justin.
All right. And I'm going to look at the comments real quick. What are people saying? Let's go. Because I go back and forth because I want to see your handsome face too, Nick. I'd love to see the
got people loving on Carrie, Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Love it. Oh, King Kong.
King Kong, yes. And he also mentions Blood-Sucking Freaks. I have not seen that, Ryan.
Oh, I've not seen that one. I have not seen it. All right. So let's go. 1976, The Omen. I love it. I mean, great cast, scary movie. Rest in peace, Richard Donner, who directed that movie. The Jerry Goldsmith score. I mean, that's another great iconic score there.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Carrie, just, classic film. That one I remember seeing it for the first time.
Thanks for popping in, Jay. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, Jay. Thank you. Carrie's a great one. I love it. Alice, Sweet Alice. If you've never seen that one, Nick, highly recommend it. I think it's Brooke Shields' first movie. That's a great slasher film mixed with thriller, and I love Alice, Sweet Alice.
Yes, Ben. It's all for you, Damien.
It's all for you. Burnt Offerings with Oliver Reed and Karen Black. That is a film that, it's, I wouldn't say it's simple. It's not a simple movie. The stories, it doesn't go over the top or anything, but the scenes that are in the movie, the scenes that are supposed to be terrifying are terrifying. But I love their performances. You've got a crazy ending there. If you've never seen it, Nick, definitely watch Burnt Offerings.
I have not.
Ian Alive, Tobe Hooper's sophomore, not his sophomore movie, but his film after Texas Chainsaw Massacre. as much as I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a better movie, Eating Alive is definitely in the top 3 for me. I think that's a great film. It's kind of over the top. It's a little wacky. The characters can be over the top. You got the killer in the movie who is just crazy, insane. Like that sickle that he has. Like at one moment in the film, he could be a really nice guy, and then if something happens, he just turns, and he's creepy. And then The Town That Dreaded Sundown. I mean, that's a great one too. So I love that. I actually really love the sequel, reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it. I think that's a great one. But if I had to pick one, it was a tie between The Omen and Carrie. So I love The Omen so much, but the one I go to the most is Carrie out of the two. You talked about some great moments in the movie. Carrie is picked on so much, and I think what really just gets her at that prom scene is, she was having a great time. And behind all this, people were wanting to pull this prank. And it was a prank that it was like the last line for her. And those powers that she had just overcame her. And she saw everybody laugh at her. And you have the mother in the background going, they're all going to laugh at you. It's all in her head. But I love Carrie. Some other things I love about it. I love Sissy Spacek's performance. I think overall you have a great cast here. Early John Travolta movie. Nancy Allen's great. She's a great mean girl. PJ Souls. We love PJ Souls. Definitely a pre-Halloween here. The performance that really stands out for me, though, is Piper Laurie as her mom. I mean, her mom is not a nice person. She treats Carrie cruel. I think at times she wants to protect her, but as Carrie was getting older, Carrie was experiencing things, and Mrs. White just kind of went more cruel than anything. So I love Piper Laurie's performance as Mrs. White. But yeah, and I want to talk about the directing and the music during the prom scene. I love the fact that before the event happens, you have kind of the buildup going on, and you see Amy Irving's character kind of watching the rope, and she's following where the rope's leading. And while that's going on, you have that great music. So that's a great build-up moment. And then when the event happens and the blood's poured on Carrie and she locks up that gym, you then get like that two-shot like style going on. So there's one moment on one side of the screen where something's happening, and then you have another moment. And again, you have like a lot of different colors going on in this movie. And that whole prom scene, it's still very eerie today. I used to, when I was a kid, my sisters and I, we would reenact the prom scene, and we would have the music on in the background. So I know I was a weird child. I know, but we were shooting the prom scene, and I'm directing this, and I'm like, okay, you all fall down. You fall down. Cue. Everyone goes down on the ground. Sorry, I might be a little morbid. I apologize. But I Carrie, I ramble a little bit too. So Nick, if I'm rambling, you tell me to stop, because
you're good.
But I love Carrie. I mean, this is a great one. That was like a VHS moment, and I remember first watching it, and I fell in love with it right away, and I still love it today. So.
Yes, 1031. I did know that there was technically 2 remakes of Carrie. The TV one. I've never seen that one, though. Peace Boy Rambo says he's struggling to pick between The Omen and Carrie because they're both classics.
They are.
Yes, Ben. Yes, De Palma was a great filmmaker.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say real quick, De Palma, great director, but that TV remake, I really enjoy that remake too. I think it was a fun.
I've never seen it.
It's a good one. All right.
77. All right. So 77, I wrote down 5 films from 1977. And I wrote down The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, Suspiria, The Hills Have Eyes, Rabid, and Orca.
Ooh.
Now, let me just say here, I'm going to get some hate for this. I know.
Oh no.
I know I'm going to get some hate for it.
Oh, no.
And I already know what Justin's pick is. Like, I know for a fact there's no way he's not going to pick anything but this Argento film. But
Did you go with The Exorcist too?
Yeah, The Exorcist 2. I'm going The Hills Have Eyes. And I don't know if it's because I'm a sucker for Craven or what it is. Yes, Orca is very fun. But I don't know. I respect the classic that is Suspiria. I do enjoy the film. It is hard to choose for me. You know, I did definitely struggle a little bit, but I think I hold firm in The Hills Have Eyes. I watched that film more. I've seen that film more. I really, 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 I really like that film. So I'm going to go with The Hills Have Eyes. And I don't know why I didn't do this because I'm an idiot, but I should have just done that for dramatic effect. Like, oh, that's the one I'm picking. But yeah, I'm going The Hills Have Eyes. Justin,
All
let him
right.
have it.
Okay, so The Hills of Eyes was definitely one that I picked for 1977. Classic Wes Craven movie. I love it. It's a great one. Underrated zombie type film, Shockwaves with Peter Cushing. That's a movie that again I think.
Yes, Ryan. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Justin. Eraserhead.
What's that?
I totally that slipped my mind. Yes,
Never seen
Eraserhead
it.
is also Eraserhead is great. I have not seen House and the Incredible Melting Man, but Eraserhead, yes, that's my bad on that one.
And I might get hate for this. And it's not because I don't want to see it. I've never seen Eraserhead. So if you don't see that on my list, it's because I've never seen it. I'll need to watch it though. But Shockwaves, great movie. I like the island setting. Quite eerie. A very underrated movie, The Sentinel, with Chris Sarandon. He's one of the stars in the movie. It takes place in a townhome, and there's a lot of backstory and evil in this townhome. It's about a woman in New York. She's wanting to move out of Chris Sarandon's house. She kind of wants to live on her own, and she comes across this townhome, and there's a lot of dark and eerie things with it. The third act is terrifying. A lot of things happen in the third act. There's some nightmarish stuff that goes on in this movie. And overall, that's one of the most underrated films in the 70s, in my opinion. The Exorcist 2, The Heretic. I also put that on my list. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Now, it's not a great movie, but for me, it's not bad. I think it's one of those you're looking at me like, are you kidding me? You put it on your list too, mister.
Yes.
But it's entertaining. It's entertaining. It's just entertaining. I can watch it and not be like, oh, like awful. Like, I want to cry awful or anything like that. It's fun. It's fun. I mean, Linda Blair tap dancing. I don't know what she was doing.
She doesn't know what she was doing.
She doesn't. She, in the interview, like on the Scream Factory Blu-ray, if you talk to her about this movie, she says, I don't know why they wanted me to tap dance. The director just wanted me to. And I'm like, okay. She's like, I didn't know how to tap dance. She's like, I can't do that. And he's like, you're going to do it. She talks about how, like, when she first got the script, how she said it was a great script. She said, you had a great director come on board. You had Borman. I'm forgetting his first name, but he was on board. Great cast overall. And if you look at the cast, you got a great cast there. She said, though, when they were making the movie, that literally they changed the script 5 times. And by the end of the film, when she saw it, she was like, that was not the movie I signed up for. But I can watch it and be entertained. But 1977, you mentioned it. For me, it's Suspiria. I didn't mention it before. Hills Have Eyes was a very close second. I love Hills Have Eyes, but Suspiria, if I'm thinking 70s horror movies, if I'm thinking one of my favorite ones, it's Suspiria. John Borman, thank you so much. Thank you all. I was thinking it was John, but I didn't want to say a wrong name, but thank you. But Suspiria. Jessica Harper, our lead in the movie, she's great. Dario Argento's directing. This is by far, in my opinion, his best directing. I love his use of colors in this movie. I love the Goblin score. And it is a terrifying movie. Between the deaths in the movie and the third act of the film, it's terrifying. Suspiria. Oh, and the opening act. You can't forget the opening, because I think out of any scenes in this movie, that opening scene is the one that everybody remembers. It's brutal. It's bloody. It's scary. For me, Suspiria, 1977. That is my pick for that year.
Heck yeah. Okay, guys. 1978. Oh, man. So with 1978, this year is really hard because I don't know what I want to pick, and I'm just struggling to decide, what my favorite movie of 78 is. It's very difficult. I go back and forth a lot. Indecision. No, okay, let's just get right into it. Piranha, The Toolbox Murders, Damien, Omen 2, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Jaws 2. What else came out in 78? Am I missing anything? I don't know.
Did you say Dawn of the Dead? Did you mention that one?
I did not. I'm being sarcastic because there's one that I intentionally missed. So yes, Dawn of the Dead. I don't think I'm missing anything else. Oh yeah, Halloween, that little indie movie that came out in 78. This is the easiest choice ever for me for any year. Honestly, there's no question. And let me. Oh yes, Ryan mentions I Spit on Your Grave. That also is a very good one. And I will say this: 78 and 79 are loaded. Okay. Love Piranha. Love The Toolbox Murders. Damien's okay. Love Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Love Jaws 2. Super underrated sequel because of how great the first one was. It doesn't get enough love. As Ryan mentioned, I Spit on Your Grave. Love that movie too. Hard to watch, but I really do enjoy that movie. But for me, it's it's very simple. It's very simple. And for that, I will after that. I'm rambling. I'm passing it on to you, Justin. Just take it away.
I ramble, so it's okay to ramble. If I ramble, you tell Justin, you're rambling. Thank you, Beast Boy. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. 1978. I mean, it was the year. It was the year of things. I'm going through this list. So, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I rewatched it last year. I love that movie so much. Piranha, super fun. I love it again. That is a great Joe Dante movie. Jaws 2, underrated compared to the first movie. Like you said, that first movie is such a classic film that I feel like Jaws 2 kind of just gets pushed under the rug just a little bit. There are fans of it, but I think Doug, my buddy Doug Lander, and I'm not calling him out or anything, but this is his favorite Jaws, which I'm like, you know what? I can see that, because as much as I think the first one's the best, Jaws 2 is a great movie, and there's still some great tension in it. I love Jaws 2.
Yeah, sure.
Damien, Omen 2. I don't love it as much as the first movie, but I do love that movie. He had some great little twists in that film towards the end. Dawn of the Dead, Romero classic film. I love it. I Spit on Your Grave. Again, like you said, great movie, hard to watch, but it is a great movie. And then, there's actually 2 Carpenter movies that came out that year. So Someone's Watching Me is a Carpenter movie that have you seen that one?
Like... No.
Somebody? Oh, I think you. I love the song.
I was in a Rockwell.
But Someone's Watching Me was a made-for-TV Carpenter movie, and it's directed really well. You got a great cast in that. But what's my favorite from 1978? I don't think I've mentioned it yet. Halloween. I mean, yes, Carpenter's Halloween. It's my favorite film from the 70's. It's my favorite horror movie of all time. And it's also my favorite movie of all time. And when I tell people my favorite movie of all time, they're like, is it really Carpenter's Halloween? And I'm like, yes, it's the movie that made me fall in love with films. I love that movie. You love it too.
Yeah, it's not just my favorite horror film. It's my favorite movie of all time as well.
See, that's one of the reasons why we're like great friends. So, fist pump to you, high five, whatever it may be, bud. It's Halloween. We love it. Michael Myers, we got introduced to him. Carpenter's directing's great. I know some people like to point out like the flaws, like, oh, you see a cigarette smoke in the scene. And I'm like, yeah. You see a palm tree. I'm like, yeah. I don't nitpick this movie. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but for me, this is a film that there's a lot of just great things about this movie. Carpenter made Halloween scary. Like, he made the season, he made the day scary. The fact that Michael Myers was supposed to be this human, but we know he's not a human because he's evil. And the fact that, every time you think that Laurie Strode has like killed him, Michael, it doesn't happen. Michael keeps coming back. Jamie Lee Curtis, this was her kind of introduction to a lot of us. And I think she's great in it. Now, yes, again, you can call out, Jamie, why did you drop the knife like 2 times in this movie? But she's great in this. And besides Jamie Lee Curtis, you got PJ Souls as Linda. You got Nancy Loomis, Nancy Kyes as Annie. I think they're great in the movie. I love the fact that, Deborah Hill, rest in peace. We got to talk about Deborah. I love her. While Carpenter wrote a lot of the kills and a lot of the terrifying moments, Deborah wrote dialogue for these 3 characters. Mm-hmm. And these were like your everyday teenagers, everyday girls. And, you really see that with, again, the dialogue, but the scene where they're walking home and they're having their conversation. Between Carpenter's directing and Deborah writing those moments, it's just great. And, the film talks about fate. And I always say that, Michael, yes, he saw Laurie when she dropped off the key, but I really think when Annie said speed kills and he stops that car, that was the moment where he said, okay, now I'm going after all 3 of you tonight. The idea of fate. Am I the only one that thinks stuff like that? Because I really think that like stuff like that is what makes Halloween creepy.
Yeah, I think you definitely could say that because obviously Carpenter had no idea that they were going to be related at this point.
No.
I don't really know. I just take it, he just wants to kill babysitters. He just likes to kill people. I can see your rationalization. I definitely do.
Now, I will say this, and I love Sam. I love Triple Feature. I finally saw this Halloween ranking today. And while I love the love he gave for Rob Zombie's Halloween too, I was like, "Ooh, Sam! As much as I love you, Sam, as much as I love you, buddy, I saw your ranking where Carpenter's was, and I'm like, oh, it broke my heart a little bit." I was
Yeah,
like,
I died a little inside when I saw that. I was like, "What are you doing, Sam?"
I died a little bit. I cried a little bit too.
Hmm.
I was like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But you know what? Like I said, he gave major props to Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween too, and yeah, I love that. So, but yeah, I saw
Oh,
your ranking, Sam.
nice, Taylor. You got the 30th anniversary box set for Halloween, and it's still sealed. Yes.
Nice,
Yeah, I
nice.
have. I got that one years and years ago, and it's definitely seen some better days now. But it's a nice little piece to have. That's kick ass, man.
Sam, I
Um,
love you. Okay, I love you. Triple feature.
so Justin and I's favorite horror film of '78, favorite film of '78. It's right there. It is Pumpkin Face Knife. That's our
Mm-hmm.
favorite. That's our favorite. So without further ado, we're gonna get into '79. Let me tell you something. 1979, pretty loaded as well.
Oh, yes, it was.
In 1979, we have the Amityville Horror, Salem's Lot, Phantasm,
Mm.
Alien, Tourist Trap, and When a Stranger Calls. All 6 of those films, pretty dang good, if
Yeah.
not great.
Mm.
They all have their merits. Normally, I struggled a little bit. I
I did
struggled a
too.
little bit with this one. And that's because yes, it does have great films, Ryan. Amityville Horror is a classic. Phantasm is a classic. Alien is a classic, and this definitely is a horror film. When a Stranger Calls is a classic. I mean, if you're asking me like point blank best movie, it probably is Alien. Like if we're being objective, but for me, in my opinion, Salem's Lot, because that is my favorite, probably my favorite vampire movie. That and Fright Night. And I will always remember watching Salem's Lot as a kid because my mom had it on DVD. Me and my little brother watched it, and it scared the crap out of us. I don't want to disrespect Amityville or Phantasm or Alien or When a Stranger Calls or Tourist Trap, but for me, it's Salem's Lot. And I think I'm going to stick with that. Justin, go for it.
All right. So going through my list, we got Lucio Fulci's Zombie, aka Zombie 2. That was a movie the first time I saw it. I didn't love it, but I love it now. Like it's grown on me a lot.
Oh, crap. I forgot, guys. There you
Salem's
go.
Lot.
Salem's Lot.
Love it. But When a Stranger Calls, again, another movie I didn't love the first time I saw it because I remember seeing it on Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments, and obviously they showed the opening with Carol Kane, I believe. The whole babysitter moment, and I thought the entire film was going to be based on her babysitting these kids, and that was going to be the whole film. So the first time I saw it, you got to that second portion of the film where Carol was out of the film and it was like a detective story trying to find the killer. First time I saw it, I was a little bored. And then third act obviously picked up again for me. I love it now. I love that movie. That opening still, the first act or that opening is scary. Tourist Trap, great movie. And who would have thought that movie was PG, but it is a PG movie. I love Tourist Trap. The Brood, David Cronenberg's The Brood. In my opinion, his scariest movie. I think that is a scary movie. I still get scared and I still get the chills each time I watch it. Phantasm, Don Coscarelli's Phantasm. I love it. Again, just great film. The Amityville Horror, again, classic film. Like, you said great movie, eerie, creepy, great cast. I mean, every time I hear "Get Out," like it's eerie. I love it. Get Out. It's so good. Salem's Lot. I love that movie. That's top 5, top 3 favorite vampire films. And every time I watch it again, it's a scary film. 1979, it still holds up today. All these decades later, I think it's going to be 42 years old this year coming up. Yeah, I love it. But as much as I almost went for Salem's Lot, because I almost did, I have to talk about Alien, and that is my favorite of 1979.
Ryan mentioned really quick in the chat, Dracula 79. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it yet, but I bought it, and shout out to Christian because he talked about it, and that's the reason why I got it. So shout out to him.
Yeah, that's another one that Ryan, I haven't seen it, and Christian was actually the one that turned me on to that too. So I have to pick that up. But it has Pleasance in it, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Is Donald Pleasance in that movie? I'm not sure if he's in that film.
I think Pleasance is in it.
Is he really? Wow,
Ryan,
I didn't know that.
Let me know in the chat, but I'm pretty sure Donald Pleasance is in it, and that's all I need to know that I'm gonna like it. But
oh yeah. But Alien for me. Was this because we were talking before or like early in this chat? Was this the one we were like, Justin, I know what you're going to pick for 79, or were you thinking Salem's Lot?
Actually, hold on. I was actually thinking, yes, but no. I thought you were going to pick When a Stranger Calls.
Really? Oh, nice. Yep. But yeah, Alien. This is definitely a horror movie. Where Aliens is more action based. It's got those scary moments in it. Alien for me, not only my favorite of the franchise, one of my favorite films from the 70s, one of my favorite horror movies from the 70s, and one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah, I love Alien. I like the fact that when you first see this movie, it kind of gives you a little twist, a little turn in the film where you think, someone might be the lead. Tom Skerritt's character, it actually winds up being Sigourney Weaver. When a Stranger Texts. Hey, that could be modern day remake there.
Yes, Sam, Blackula was the 70s. I believe Blackula was 71 or 72.
But yeah, it has a twist on like the character arc. I like that. I still today I watch it. It's an eerie movie. The scene where Dallas, I think Tom Skerritt's character is like down in like the kind of tunnels. I'm just gonna say tunnels, and he's looking for the alien. As much as the chest pop scene, chest bursting scene is creepy, I think when he's down there looking, and everybody's looking on kind of the monitor, and they're telling him, you need to get out of there. The alien is right behind you, and he can't see anything. He's not seeing it, but they're seeing it. And then it's finally revealed that the alien kind of pops out and like it's like that jump scare. That for me might be the most terrifying scene in the film. But yeah, Alien, Ridley Scott's film. This is my favorite Ridley Scott movie too. Alien, that's my favorite, 1979. So.
Yeah, and I know it's almost blasphemous for me to not pick it, but 79 was a fantastic year.
I mean, I almost went with Salem's Lot. Like, I almost picked Salem's Lot. Like, that was my very close second choice. I mean, 79 as a year, I mean, there were so many great ones and classic films that came out that year, classic horror movies. And Salem's Lot was a very close second. I think that's one of the scariest movies I've seen.
And if you guys are, fans of some of the deeper cuts, some of these classic underrated 70s horror films that maybe Justin and I didn't talk about, there's a guy in the chat right now. His channel name is Horribid for Life, The Vault. And his name is Ryan. Ryan is the aficionado when it comes to some of these types of movies. And so if you guys like that stuff and you enjoy those types of movies, head on over to Ryan's channel, check him out. Also his social media game too. He's always talking about them, posting about them. He's got some great posters, some great collectibles, memorabilia. Like he really does have a pretty sick collection of some films that I've never seen before. So if we missed films that you guys are like, oh, you didn't talk about this one, you didn't talk about that one, it's probably because we haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But Ryan, he really does. He really does have a great channel, and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to some of those movies. So you should go check him out for sure. And then Lady Claire, yeah, triple feature's just messing around. He's a smart ass.
What did he say? What did he say? What a triple feature.
Earlier he said Halloween was too bloody for him.
Oh.
Yeah. Sam being Sam.
Sam being Sam.
Hey, no problem, buddy. No problem. Yeah, I mean he I'm telling you, dude, Ryan, you got some he's got some cool stuff, man. He really does. Like, you want to know about some of these older monster movies. We're talking Dracula, Frankenstein, I mean, King Kong, that type of stuff. Ryan's your guy. He knows a lot about that stuff. So yeah, he's the type of guy, like, correct me if I'm wrong, bud, but I think that I saw on your Instagram story a couple weeks ago, like he had like this old TV with like the built-in VCR in it, and he was watching like vintage old movies in black and white on VHS on this little box TV. Like, cause like that's his thing, man. He loves that era and those types of movies. And I mean, I just thought it was so retro and cool. I mean, I really did. So if you guys are into that, I mean, look no further. But I mean, the 70's for me didn't really pick up till the back half. There are some good movies in the first half for sure, but the back half is when you really got like that's when you really started to shape where we were going into the 80's, when you started to get movies like Black Christmas, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Carrie, Halloween. You really started to see where horror was going. Mm-hmm. And we talked about the 80's last week, and this is very similar to the 80's. And I don't think a lot of people understand that the 70's was absolutely essential to us getting what we got in the 80's. People give the 80's all the credit sometimes, and they're like, oh, the 80's really skyrocketed the genre into the mainstream, and it was the golden age for it in the sense of that's what everyone was watching. That's what everyone wanted to pay to see. But the 70's really started that. So you got to show some love to the 70's. You absolutely have to. There's some films that I have got to check out from the 70's, and I know Justin has to as well.
I mean, Sarah mentioned The Prophecy. I've seen it, Sarah, but I've seen it once, and it was so long ago that I didn't want to write that on the list because I can't really remember it. So I have to go and watch that again.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just, I tell you what, it is a really cool, decade. It's not my favorite decade. No, absolutely not. But, it is a very consequential and enjoyable decade. And I think that, 1031, you're leaving, man. Come on, party pooper.
Thanks for stopping in,
I'm just messing, man. Are we boring you? But yeah, that's my piece on the 70's. And we got some of the best horror movies ever from the 70's, in my opinion, with Jaws and Halloween and Alien, which is funny. Look at the three of those movies and look how different they are.
Yes.
One is a shark movie in the water. One takes place in space. And one is just your typical suburban neighborhood. Like, I don't know. So, but yeah, what's your final closing statements on the 70's before we open this up? We're going to open it up for a little more Q&A, guys. But go ahead, Justin.
I love the 70's. Like you said, early 70s. It's so funny. It's, early 70s was really like Hammer horror movies and kind of creature films, like Dracula movies. Like that was a big one. And then you kind of saw like a shift in kind of the tone and the subgenre that the 70s was going with. Where I think like the 80s, yes, outside of slasher films, the 80s had more subgenres in there. But when you think the 80s, for me, I automatically think slasher films because we had so many of them. 70s is unique again because it started with Hammer horror movies. Then we got those classic films, those staple ones like Jaws and Alien and Halloween, with some other subgenres in there. Does that make sense? Like the 70s was unique because we had so many. The decade changed as different type of horror movies were coming out. So I love the 70s. It is probably my second favorite decade for horror movies, next to the 80s. So
yeah. And I want to let you guys know, I've been ruminating on something. I think next week we are going to start to have a custom made intro for these Haddonfield High chats. I think I'm going to record some vocals and send it my buddy Phil's way. And then he's going to throw down some instrumentals and we'll put some graphics in there. And I think we're going to have, our own little intro starting next week rather than just a basic video countdown. So I can't promise if it's not next week, it will be the week after that, but it is coming. I just have to write some quick lyrics. So
looking forward to it though.
Yeah, I think it'll be cool. I'll show it to you obviously and see what your opinion is. No, I do not rap triple feature. I do not rap.
Sarah was asking, are we going to do 60s? And 60s is hard for me. Like
it's hard for me too. I won't lie.
That's hard for me. So
I would say here's the thing. It would be disingenuous of me to do that because I haven't seen enough 60s horror films. I don't think that I could do that and feel like I'm giving them the justice they deserve. Yes. I have seen some. I have, I can think of a few off the top of my head that I do really enjoy, but I don't know enough of them to do that and do them justice. Maybe that's a question you'd want to throw Horror Bid for Life's way because he could really, really quiz some of us on 60s horror and make us look stupid. But yeah, what do you think, Justin? You feel the same way?
Yeah, I mean, there's some great ones that came out from the 60s. Night of the Living Dead being one of them, Psycho being one of them. I'm probably blanking on some other ones, but yeah, the 60s had some great ones. But for me and like you, it's like I don't want to make a video where I list off movies that I might not have seen or don't remember too much because before the 60s, yes, there's some great ones that came out with each decade before the 70s. But yeah, that would be hard for me. I don't want to do like if we had seen more 60s horror movies, then yes, we could do a video, but not right now, at least. I think maybe we need to watch some before we talk about 60s horror movies.
And I think next week we'll actually be getting out of The Birds and Psycho.
The Birds,
those are two that I can think of off the top of my head.
Birds.
Love the Birds. Think next week we'll be getting out of the episodic 70s, 80s, 90s too. We've done 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s now. We haven't done them in order because we didn't know we were going to do more than one. And then people were like, well, then can you do this decade? And we're like, oh, screw it. And they're like, well, can you do this decade? So I think next week we'll be back to something different, a different topic out of the decades. And maybe we talk about a franchise. Maybe we talk about, because we haven't tackled some franchises, guys. We really haven't. We've tackled Halloween and we've tackled Friday the 13th. We haven't tackled Child's Play. We haven't tackled Nightmare on Elm Street.
Did we do Nightmare on Elm Street? We didn't do that. No,
we haven't done that. No, we did that on Unita. But we haven't done that just like a full-fledged, fleshed out live chat talk about each movie and our, opinions on it and blah, blah, blah. the possibilities are endless. The Saw franchise, there's a lot of stuff that we have not talked about. So, we're going to go back and forth on that, and we'll come up with something for sure. And thanks, John. Thanks, John. That really means a lot, because we put a lot of effort into these guys. Like, we do research, and we make sure we know what we're talking about before we do these.
Yes.
And we rewatch some of these movies, and I mean, we really do make sure when we get there, we know, hey, we're not going to let you guys down.
No.
And then Ryan says 60s was full throttle with what was going to shape the 70s, especially the slasher films. Herschel Gordon and Hammer with Hitchcock shaped the genre with that time period.
That's true. Again, I got to see more 60s though. We might be able to do like an episode, not going by every year, but maybe having a 60s discussion, like The Birds and Psycho and Night of the Living Dead and some of those others. But
what's up, Alan? Pentagramma. How you doing?
What's going on, guys? Hey, Pentagramma. Hey, Alan.
Wes brings up a good idea, Justin. Do an episode ranking all the Myers masks. See,
that could be something.
But here's my thing with that, Wes. I think I'm going to make that an upload, because I don't think that would take up 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I'll probably do that as an upload on my channel, and I've been thinking about doing that. Oh, another super chat from our boy Rudy.
Awesome, Rudy. Awesome.
The cast of Black Christmas demands a recount. Hey, Justin picked it.
I picked Black Christmas.
Yeah. And that's another thing too, guys. If you're a YouTuber and you have a channel and, you have a microphone and, you are willing to, and you're open to the idea and wanting to maybe get on one of these with Justin and I, let me know. You've seen, we've had Christian on, we've had Sam on. We're very open to accommodating that to people. All I ask is that, we stay relatively on topic and, make sure your audio and your video are as good as possible. And, do the best you can with what you got. But if you ever wanted to be a part of it, an episode, let me know and we'll definitely talk about it. But again, Rudy, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy.
I love that film. I promise. But thank you for your kindness. I really do appreciate that, buddy.
Thank you, Rudy.
Much love to you. And then Ryan says, if you two ever need suggestions to get into the 60s, I'll definitely help out. Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan.
Like I said, guys, I wasn't joking around. He knows what he's talking about. But, so there's a lot that we haven't really covered. So there's so much we can do. Sarah said a video about Scream Queens. We can definitely do that. I did an upload about Final Girls, which isn't really the same. And that was like 2 or 3 months ago. That was a while ago. But yeah, we could definitely talk Scream Queens. T. Parker Evans says controversial / unpopular opinions on horror franchises. Yeah. Justin and I love controversy.
I love controversy. Horror franchises though. Like that would be tough for me because I'm telling you right now, Halloween Resurrection, I have a soft spot for. Friday the 13th, there's not one that I can sit down and not enjoy. I think the only one that I don't like from a franchise is Freddy's Dead. But we can come up with something though. Like I like the idea of controversial and unpopular opinions because trust me,
Well, Sarah, let me let you in. Oh, I'm sorry. Sarah asked a question. I just wanted to show her something really quick. So let me let you in on a little secret, guys. How I do this is I use my iPhone for my camera, and then I have my laptop hooked up with my mic hooked into my laptop. So I technically have 2 things in StreamYard at once. And so if I could show you guys really quick. There it is. That's the box for my laptop. And you can see as I talk, it shows that I'm talking because my laptop's camera quality is garbage. So without having a webcam right now, I just use my iPhone for the video and mute my phone, and then use my laptop for the audio. And it works for me. You know, I
I
don't know. I think it looks fine. I think it sounds good.
think,
You know, and
I
what do you
mean,
think?
I think yours is great. Hopefully, like my microphone, hopefully you guys are able to hear me great tonight, because I hope the microphone's not off or anything.
I haven't had any issues with you.
Thank you.
John,
But yeah,
did you even say anything earlier, John? I had no idea you were in here, buddy. How you doing?
what's going
Sorry,
on, John? How are you?
Can you
You're
hear me?
fine. No. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
But I was gonna real quick say, like, for me, I use an iPhone. I use it for everything. I use it for my videos, and for the longest time, I didn't have a microphone, and now I have the microphone. I have the earphones. It's simple for me. It's simple, and hopefully the way the camera looks and everything, it's good. So, yeah, it's nothing big or anything like that. So I use my iPhone again for everything. So
Justin,
what?
I think T. Parker Evans just gave us our next idea.
Let me look at it.
I am very passionate about this idea. I don't know if it'll be next because Justin has to watch 84, right?
I have to watch 84. Yes. And yeah, I could. Let me finish 84. I've seen part of Cult, but I have a feeling about Cult, so I can talk about it.
Well, we'll go with this. How about we do this? That season comes out, if I'm not mistaken, the 20-something of August. The Monday, the week that comes out, right before it comes out, because I believe it comes out on a Wednesday or a Thursday. Mm-hmm. We will do that ranking of all the seasons. So that's about a month. 3-4 weeks. So you'll have time to catch up on what you haven't seen. I think you're really going to dig 84. But yes, T. Parker Evans.
I'm excited to see it.
And then, that's a good one, Rudy. That's a good one.
That's a great one. That is a great
one. But yeah, that is an awesome idea. We just got to get Justin to finish Cult. Did you watch Apocalypse?
I did watch Apocalypse. Cult, I got busy with things, so I didn't finish the last half, but I can talk about it because I remember most of it.
You have to watch the last half because a lot of stuff happens. It really does.
Okay, so let me watch 1984 and let me watch Cult, or at least the last half of it.
So T. Parker Evans says August 25th is when it drops. So that episode then would be August 23rd that we would record it.
Okay, we'll do that.
That's awesome.
Have you seen American Horror Stories yet? Because I have not dug into that yet at all.
Yep, I've watched all 3 of the first episodes.
Is it good?
The first 2 episodes, yes. The first 2 episodes are back at the murder house, but it's a totally different. A new family moves in, and it's all about the rubber suit. You remember the rubber suit?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, it's all about the rubber suit. And then episode 3 was just like a drive-in, like massacre, and Adrienne Barbeau's in it.
Ooh,
and
nice.
It's about, and it's about basically a film that makes people, like, when they watch it, it like turns them into like zombies or something, and they start killing everyone and eating people, and So nice. It is fun. It's very fun. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of it, but I can't lie, I'm very excited for the newest season of the main line of American Horror Story, double feature, because I really, really miss, Evan Peters and Sarah Paulson, and I'm very excited to get them back.
Yes, I agree. Have you seen Ratched yet? That is amazing. Like, if you've never seen Ratched on Netflix, it's not American Horror Story, but Sarah Paulson's the lead. It feels like an American Horror Story season. Highly recommend it.
I've heard good things about it, but I haven't checked it out yet. No. But yeah, that's a good idea, guys. We will do that. Justin's got about 4 weeks to watch a handful of episodes. I think he can get it done,
All
and
right.
we will talk all about that. But for these last 15 minutes or so, we're going to open this up to a Q&A to every single one of you in here. If you have a question or a comment or a concern or complaint or
No gosh.
whatever, sound off in the chat. Let us know. Ask away. Comment away. Sarah says, I'm
Please
trying to
question.
find out if a blue microphone's snowball USB microphone can work with an iPhone.
I mean,
I don't know.
mine, I don't know, but the thing about it is I can probably send Sarah a link to mine. I think I paid $32 for mine, and it's not bad at all. Like, I think the sound's pretty good. So
yeah. Taylor asks, have you guys seen The Act on Hulu? Yes, I have. And that was messed up.
I haven't seen The Act, so I'll have to
Gypsy
watch
Rose.
it. Oh, I've heard of it, but I've not seen it. So I know. Yeah.
Very messed up. Very messed up.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, I just want to say to everybody that has subscribed recently, I know Justin would echo this sentiment, because both of us have seen our channels start to go up, in subscriptions, and we really appreciate that. I couldn't do it without some of my friends, and Justin being one of them, Christian being one of them. I really appreciate that, guys, and I really, it just means a lot, and I hope that you guys like the channel, and I hope you guys like what I do over here, and I hope you like the show that we do. And thank you for the super chats and the, just being a subscriber. So it means a lot. Justin, you feel the same?
I feel the same. I thank you guys so much, and I've seen subscribers go up on my channel. I've said it before. Like this past year has kind of past year and a half has really got me to really not bring on a new life, but like just make me really fall in love with making videos again, because 2019, 2018, I wasn't making as many. And I thought in 2018 I was going to leave. So I'm glad I didn't, because, I've had such a blast this past year and a half. Nick, I thank you from day one when you invited me on your channel. And I still thank you now, because, I think you're one of the reasons why YouTube has become fun for me again, because I love doing our live chats. I'm starting to do live chats on my channel. I was nervous at first to do them. And
it just becomes second nature, doesn't it?
It becomes second nature, because I get to talk to, I get to talk to the chat. I get to talk to you, so many people. And like you said, it is second nature, and I love it. I love you guys. I'm having a blast. So thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you for subscribing to Nick's channel. He's one of the best. I'm glad you're making videos again, buddy. I've loved them. And I thank you guys for joining us Mondays, because this is my Monday. I look forward to Mondays because of this.
Yeah.
And,
well, I appreciate those kind words. I really, really do, Justin.
You're welcome.
And I value you very much. And we're getting some questions, and I don't want to lose these questions. So John wants to know, apart from Halloween, what is your guys' favorite horror film of the 1970s? Justin, what's your second favorite horror film of the 70s?
From the 70s? Oh, gosh.
I got to look at my list to make sure.
I got to look at mine. What was my favorite? Oh,
my Lord.
Is it my second? Is it my second favorite?
My second favorite. Okay, you want to go?
Well, I would say my second favorite. Yeah, I didn't It's not Black Christmas, even though I did pick that for 1974. Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be my second favorite, I think. I just wanted to throw in Black Christmas because that's just classic film, but that is one of my favorites, so that's in top 10 for me. But I would say like Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be my
I would say The Exorcist. For me.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Wes wants to know, last movie you guys watched. Well, good. That's funny, because I was about to talk about this really quick. I got Paramount Plus last night.
Ooh.
And for one reason and one reason only, because I wanted to watch A Quiet Place Part 2. So last night, I watched A Quiet Place Part 2, and in my opinion, I think it's better than the first one. I loved
I haven't seen
A
it
Quiet
yet.
Place
That's
Part 2.
awesome.
Loved it.
That's
Absolutely
awesome.
loved it. The movie is just like the first one, very tense, but this is more open world. They're out in the open. I loved it. I loved that movie. What about you, Justin? Last movie you watched?
Well, the last horror movie I watched, I can't remember the last horror movie I watched. Like I blank so bad. I'm sorry, guys. But the last movie I watched Christopher Reeves, Richard Donner's Superman, and then Superman 2, the Richard Donner version yesterday.
Nice.
But the last horror movie I watched, again, I draw blanks, guys. I do apologize. I can't remember the last horror movie I watched, though. I need to watch more movies. I feel like I watch movies, but my goal used to be watch one every night, and I feel like sometimes I don't. So
yeah. Taylor says, been here since 2017, and I appreciate that very much. Phil Zilla, we addressed that. We're not super well versed in the 60s.
yeah.
Maybe down the line, once we've watched some more and stuff to do it justice, but not as of right now. No.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy, most recent movie seen in theaters, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, last month.
What was the last one I watched in theaters? Justin, do not draw blanks on everything. What was the last movie I saw in theaters? Black Widow. Saw that one in theaters. I had to see that in theaters. So
okay. Lenton says, thank you guys, boss content. Thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you.
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
How you doing, David?
Let's see. Oh my goodness, we're getting a lot of comments. Sarah says Jaws is her favorite of the 70s. Number 2 is Halloween. Ryan says there's way too many good ones for him to pick. Texas Chainsaw for John. Great movie. You guys seen Freaky yet? I am watching Freaky tonight. I can't get her to watch it with me.
So much fun.
I
loved it.
Okay, here's the thing. It's Christopher Landon. So, Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to you. And I showed her Happy Death Day when she thought it was going to suck. And this was like 2 years ago. She was like, wow, I really liked that. So I'm like, I show her the trailer for this one. And she goes, oh, no, I think it looks dumb. I'm like, you would have said the same thing about Happy Death Day's trailer, but you ended up liking the movie. Like, give it a chance. But she won't watch it with me. So she's at work tonight. So I am watching Freaky tonight.
Oh, you are going to love it. For me, I love the Happy Death Day movies. I think Freaky is better than the second Happy Death Day movie, but I loved Freaky. You are going to love it. If you love those Happy Death Day movies, you will love it.
Yeah. Phil asked if either one of us has seen Subspecies. I have not.
I've seen the first one. I liked it. I need to go back and watch it, but I've not seen the sequels.
T. Parker Evans, I agree with you, Nick. A Quiet Place Part 2 was better than the original. Unfortunately, I had a poor theater experience with the group behind me because they wouldn't shut up. Yeah. A movie called A Quiet Place. Like, shut up.
You should kick them out of the theater if they're going to be talking during the movie. That's one where you need to not let them in.
Sarah says she loves Superman.
It's great. I love it, Sarah.
Ryan says he just watched Jacob's Wife.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to.
And last night watched Attack of the 50-Foot Woman and the Reptile. Damn, that is a gnarly title. Oh, Taylor says last movie they saw in theaters was Fantasy Island. Was it bad?
Oh, I saw it. It was horrible. Like,
I heard it was
bad movie. I never wanted. I turned to my buddy. I was like, "Do you want to leave the movie?" We didn't leave, but it was awful. It was bad.
Yes, those Nightmare on Elm Street 4K leaks are fake. Scream Factory came out and said they were fake.
Yep.
And I knew that anyway. They didn't need to be confirmed fake or not because. Yeah, I'm not alluding to it anymore. Okay, well, y'all will see eventually. But I knew that those 4K announcements were fake. But I think that fake leak should tell you guys something is coming.
Well, that fake leak too only showed like the first 4 movies, maybe the first 5. I'm like, why are you? Yeah, I mean,
there's only 8 of them. Why would you do 5 and not just all 8?
Right.
It makes no sense.
I mean, everybody's asking for a proper box set. Why would you release the first 5, not release the rest?
I know. Hello, Isaiah.
Isaiah, what's up, buddy?
Yes, yes. Catherine, what's her name? Catherine Newton, I think.
Yes, she's so good in it.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
great. She's
I'll
a
let
great
you know what I
actress
think of
too.
it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Last movie I saw in theaters was Fast 9, but I loved watching The Goonies back but I
Ooh,
loved watching The Goonies back. Yeah, okay, so hold up. Fast freaking 9.
I haven't seen it
Ryan,
yet.
was it as dumb as you thought it'd be? Let me know.
I I
Heard they
love
go to
I love
space finally, and it's confirmed. They actually go to space apparently. So
I love those movies for the fun popcorn flicks that they are. They ain't even guilty pleasures for me. I'm just gonna say I love them. I love watching. I like
oh,
getting
here
my
we go.
popcorn and my candy and everything.
Yes, we have both seen Let the Right One In.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I
Really
love
enjoy it.
Let Me In. Let Me In is fan. I love the US
I
version.
love Let Me In. Me too.
Ryan says it's awfully stupid about Fast 9.
Here,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, they've taken that simple scenario of race car driving or racing on the streets and they've like developed it into this like crazy over the top stuff. But that's why I love them so much.
Yeah. All right. So T. Parker puts this as 2 questions. The first question is yours, Justin. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on the Dexter New Blood trailer?
So I have a confession. I've only seen the first season of Dexter. I just got behind with things, so I need to watch the series again. So I haven't watched the trailer yet, but from what people have said, with the last season, not before the revival, but that last season that they had, people were not happy overall with that final season. So I'm glad that Dexter's kind of getting a revival. So I
Yeah.
like that.
And then his second question is, what are your guys' thoughts on the Comic-Con Chucky TV trailer? I loved it.
Me
And
too.
I was surprised because
Me too.
you hear Child's Play is getting a TV series. Oh, and it's going straight to Sci-Fi and USA. And you're like,
Mhm.
not even like Netflix or Hulu. And then you start to go like, I don't know. And then you hear Don Mancini talk about, oh, it's gonna be crazy, and we're gonna bring all these characters back, and you're like, dude, I don't know about all this. And so
Mhm.
I was very hesitant, and I watched that trailer, and I was like, oh, this looks fun. Like I love the end of the trailer where he's like, hey kid, I'm gonna go kill your sister now. You want to come? But like,
I,
I love that it takes place in October too. I'm gonna love the vibes of that. I think the doll looks great.
yes.
Um, they didn't show us any Jennifer Tilly in or
No.
uh what's her face? Christina Lee's
Christina
child.
Lee's,
Yeah.
Alex Vincent,
Yeah,
Fiona
they didn't
Dorff,
show
none
us
of them.
any of it.
None of
So,
them, which is great. I
yeah,
like that.
there's a lot to see. So yeah, what were
Loved
your
it though.
thoughts on it, Justin?
I loved it. And I was one that when Don Mancini announced that he was doing a TV show, I was like, how is that going to work for Chucky?
Mhm.
I didn't know how I felt about it in the beginning, but seeing the trailer, seeing the poster, hearing more about it, I'm getting more excited because not only do you have these familiar faces coming in, you have Devin Sawa, who I love
Yes.
Devin Sawa,
Yes.
and
And he's the
we.
dad. I thought that was a good role for him.
But I'm also hearing that he's going to play twins. Like there was a headline that came out that he's
Yes.
playing
Yeah.
twins.
Mhm.
But yeah, and Devin Sawa for me was like those 2000s or late 90s films. Like I love Devin Sawa and Casper. So I'm
Yes.
really excited. I'm really excited for this now. So I can't wait to see it.
There's a question in here. Taylor, let me tell you something really quick. When I was a kid, that was my favorite show. I saw all 3 of the first 3 movies in theaters on opening night. Me and my 2 buddies, Tommy and Chris, had a camera, and we always filmed ourselves doing stunts. Like there was one I put on an adult diaper and caught it on fire while it was on me. Don't know why. There was one where they got a pool in their yard, and there was a giant mound of dirt that was like 20 feet tall in their yard from the pool. And it was the middle of winter, and it was all frozen over and snowed. And I got butt naked on a toy Tonka truck for like a toddler and went down the
My
little hill
God.
on it and wiped out. Yeah, we thought we were jackasses. So I love Jackass, and it actually really broke my heart when Ryan Dunn died. And I've really, really missed these guys. And when I saw that trailer, I knew it was coming. I'd been following the production of it, and I follow Steve-O on here on YouTube. and it's just my childhood, man. And I actually got a little like emotional when I was watching the trailer, because they started off with nostalgia, like old clips from the movies and the show, and it's the last one. Johnny Knoxville came out and said that, so it's really emotional for me because that's my childhood. But I am absolutely thrilled for it, and I cannot wait to see my favorite jackasses beat the crap out of each other for an hour and a half. So, yeah.
I'm gonna confess something. I don't think I've ever watched Jackass. I might have seen scenes.
It's pretty gnarly, Justin. It's pretty gnarly.
I've heard it's gnarly. My sister loves it, and it's just because I have nothing against it. I just never seen it, so it's the one thing I will say about it though is like the friendships are strong there, and who was it? Ryan, was he the one that passed away?
Ryan Dunn,
I remember when he passed away, and even though I had never seen it, I knew of him. I think he was on the Bam Margera show too. It was sad. Like, that was heartbreaking, and it affected the cast. My sister was heartbroken over it. So yeah, I'll go back and watch those movies, but
they're very fun.
Yeah.
Wes wants to know, if you had to remake a sequel, what sequel would it be?
I had to remake a sequel.
Remake a sequel. So I'm going to take this as, Justin, let's take this as a sequel that we felt like was a bummer after such a good first movie. And if we had to remake it, what would it be?
After first good movie.
I'm looking at my shelf right now.
I am too. I'm trying to think about it. What would be?
Oh, well, let's just open it up as any sequel.
Okay.
And I'm just going to say Freddy's Dead.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, that movie needed to be gutted and redone.
Yeah, and my thing about it is, the thing about Freddy's Dead that I don't really like is, I like the comedy side of Freddy, but I also think like the movies before that, like there were some horror movie elements to them. Like even Dream Child had it, where Freddy's Dead just went comedy. And when I watched it, and I watch it today, I'm like, we've lost anything of Freddy that was scary until New Nightmare. The kills were lackluster. If you love the movie, I much respect to you, but I didn't care for that one. So I would remake that. I would make it darker.
Oh yeah.
If that was at the time it was the final Nightmare film, don't make it funny. Like, the writing, not great. The characters, not great. And then the ending of the movie, that gets me every time. I will sit there and watch that movie, and I'm like, the way they ended, her going, Freddy's dead. I'm like, how do you end your movie like that? Like,
no. Terrible.
For me, terrible movie. Again, if you love it, much respect to you, but that's a film where I could say I hate the movie. Like, I hate that film.
All right. We got two more. I got two questions in the chat. These are going to be the last two we take, guys. Jonathan asked, what is your guys' favorite horror sequel? This is going to surprise a lot of people, but it's not hard for me at all. Dr. Sleep.
Ooh. I'm going to go Halloween 2.
Okay.
It's not like, it's for me, Halloween 2.
Who deserves a better remake, Friday or Nightmare? Friday, because Friday never got a remake in the first place. It got a reboot.
It did not. But I don't know if you. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I don't know if you could do that remake, with Mrs. Voorhees. I get that, because the mystery wouldn't be there anymore. But in my opinion, I don't think the Nightmare remake was, one, all that bad.
No.
And two, I don't think that people want to see Nancy again. We don't need it rebooted again. So for me, I want an original Nightmare story or a continuation of a previous,
with Robert Englund.
Yeah. That's what I want. And as far as Friday goes, I don't really care what they do, just so long as they make another movie.
Here's my thing about Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, I wrote 2 fan scripts for a continuation of Dream Master and Dream Child with bringing Alice back and bringing Robert Englund back as Freddy. That is something I would love. Like, I love Lisa Wilcox. I love the character Alice. Bring her back. Maybe have her and her son now, Jacob, as a young adult in the movie. Have that. Like, I would love that. I mean, I think Alice is a great character, and I don't think she's overrated, but, you know, I don't think she gets as much love as like maybe like Nancy, and Nancy's great and I love her, but I love the character Alice. So I would love to see that character return, and Lisa Wilcox.
Yep. And Isaiah, I'm doing well tonight. How are you tonight, Justin?
I'm doing great. I am doing great. So we had somebody get blocked. Sorry, I'm looking at the comments now.
It was my brother. He was being dumb.
Okay.
So I didn't block him. I just muted him in the chat for 5 minutes. But so yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap it up. My mom is in town, so I gotta go fire up the grill and cook some steaks. That's why I've been leaning a lot here, because this is the futon in my guest room that she's sleeping on. So I've been leaning on these pillows for back support. Thank you all so much for being here. If you are not subscribed already to me or to Justin, hit that subscribe button right now. What are you doing? Hit the subscribe button on Rhyme 1988. What are you doing? And leave a like for the stream. What are you doing? Yeah, dinner at Nick's, right? I know. It's just me, my mom, and my 1.5-year-old. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys being in here. I mean, it means a lot. I love doing these. I know Justin loves doing these. And I can't. Oh, Wes, what's next for you guys? I will be putting up the poll this evening for tomorrow's live stream. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. I will be. I'll talk about it later, probably on Instagram. But Piz Owl is doing a patron live stream, and he asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. And I said yeah. So I think at 8 p.m. from like 8 to 9, I'm going to be on that live stream with Piz Owl.
Nice.
And then we'll come right over here and we'll do our live commentary. It might be 9:30 instead of 9 tomorrow. I don't know yet. But we will still do our live commentary tomorrow. I will put the poll up there. And we will get your guys' opinion. And by tomorrow morning, whatever's winning, that'll be what we watch tomorrow. And then as far as next Monday, Justin and I have to ruminate on that and talk. But we've got some ideas. So
yes.
What do you want to say to close it up, Justin, to the people?
Thank you all once again. Let me look at these last comments before we go. Just thank you all so much for always supporting these live streams. We love doing them. We love talking with you guys. You guys are the best. And like I said, this is my Mondays, and I always look forward to it. So thank you all for the love and the support.
Yep. And that's going to do it for Nick at the Lost River Drive-In and Justin over at Ryan 1988. We love you. We appreciate you. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay smart, and most importantly, stay frosty, because we got a live commentary coming tomorrow night. So you better be here and vote in the poll. Okay,
please, and like the video.
Yes.
Like it. Bye, guys.
Have a great night, you guys.